Religious intolerance has been quite clear in the past few years in Bahrain. Mosques, the houses which Allah has permitted to be raised to honor, have been brought to the ground. Over 38 mosques in Shiite villages from Salmabad, Zinj, Mahuz, Sadat, Kawara, Nuwaidrat, Bani Jamra, and other areas witnessed demolition. The pretense of the government was that the mosques were built without legal authorization and thus were violating zoning, land use, and planning laws. Muhammad al-Barbaghi Mosque, known as the most ancient religious structure in Bahrain, 400 years old, was destroyed amid the destruction campaign. When the Bahrain Independent Commission of Inquiry investigated the demolitions, it stated, the government should have realized that under the circumstances, in particular the timing, the manner in which demolitions were conducted, and the fact that these were primarily Shia religious structures, the demolitions would be perceived as a collective punishment.
What is clear is that what we had hoped, namely that our conclusions and especially our recommendations, which were accepted by His Majesty the King when we presented the report, would constitute the basis for the renewal of a real dialogue within Bahrain that, in addition to resolving human rights issues, could also perhaps contribute to a more longer-term political settlement, and that clearly hasn't happened, and it's a matter of great disappointment.
In May 2011, King Hamad put an end to the demolitions. Shortly afterwards, the US President Barack Obama warned the government of Bahrain, saying, Shia must never have their mosques destroyed in Bahrain.
Just as Shia must never have their mosques destroyed in Bahrain.
He also criticized the use of brutal force to quell legitimate calls for reform.
And President Obama has on occasion spoken out very loudly about human rights in the Gulf and human rights issues. Other times he said very little about it, and other times he appears to be completely controlled by what the US military actually want.
Sheikh Maitam Salman, the head of religious freedoms in Bahrain Human Rights Observatory, described the abolition of mosques as a collective punishment, a way for the government to show it was willing to go to any lengths to stop the demands for a democratic transition in Bahrain. The systematic sectarian campaign continued. The religious ceremony of Ashura, which has been commemorated for hundreds of years by Bahrainis, have been targeted through destructing artistic monuments and commemorative banners, harassing and terrorizing people during the ceremonies, interrogating citizens, clerics, and vocalists, and treating them as if they were terrorists. Processions were targeted. Religious centers and ma'atims were raided. Citizens were harassed and interrogated. Monuments and banners were removed with disrespect to the commemoration. And tear gas was used by security forces to disperse people, and sectarian tension was exercised in consistency with every occasion. Akin to targeting mosques and Ashura commemoration, The Bahraini authorities targeted the Islamic Council of Scholars on 29 January 2014, when the administrative court decided to dissolve the council and liquidate its assets. The court accused the members of the council of exploiting it to conduct political activities under the cover of religious sectarianism. This unjust decision was a clear evidence of the pressure exerted by the Bahraini government for the opposition to renounce a number of political demands. Al-Wifaq considered the act against the highest religious Shiite organization in Bahrain a cruel revenge against the Shiite, who was suffering from a systematic hateful sectarianism. The Islamic Council of Scholars had always been as wise as to stop the bloodshed at a time the security forces were using nothing but violence, tear gas, and bird shots against protesters. The council kept continuously until its closure, paving the way for a national dialogue and religious tolerance. Religious freedoms violations have been previously mentioned in Al-Banda report, in which it revealed the presence of a cell that worked to marginalize the Shiite through various means. The conspiracy was revealed in September 2006. It aimed at depriving Shia from their rights and drown out their voices. The government of Bahrain has employed all the organizations as a system that serves its tyranny and dictatorship. The opposition in Bahrain, mainly Al-Wifaq, which is headed by Sheikh Ali Salman, has always stressed the inviolability of peacefulness in the face of the government's brutality. Yet this attitude has changed nothing, but rather, the reign of terror increased. While stressing the need to reject violence, terrorism, and extremism, the government of Bahrain have shown evident activities of religious intolerance against the Shiite community.
لماذا أحرمك حقك في عيش شعائرك ومعتقداتك؟ السبب الوحيد اللي بيخليني أعمل هالشيء إنه أنا خايف منك. إذا أنا ما خايف منك وعندي الأمان جواتي إنه أنت لا تشكلي خطر علي، وأنا بممارستي لشعائري واعتقاداتي وإيماني لا أشكل خطر عليك، فمعناتها ممكن نلتقي بفضاء حر، بأنك أنت تعتقدي اللي أنت بتختاريه وأنا أعتقد باللي أنا اختاره، ولا نشكل خطر على بعض.
The political crisis was displayed as a sectarian conflict between Sunni and Shia, who both chose to go along in the struggle for democracy.